comes down to one simple concept: beat cycles. Beat cycles. So what you're doing here is you're choosing aspects, okay? You can have two aspects, you could have more. In Meshuggah's case, it's often two. Maybe there's a third aspect, but oftentimes two. And guess what the joke of the whole cosmic situation is? One of those aspects, parameters, is 4/4. So they're not even creating one of them. And I mean, to be fair, that's what most pop music is, right? It's just going against the 4/4 backbeat. Like, how many ways can you spin up that 4/4 backbeat? And Meshuggah like takes it even deeper with this other cycle concept, which is any kind of odd number. In fact, it must be an odd number in order to get the Meshuggah effect. So that's what the beat cycle is, okay? The beat cycle is oftentimes the odd number that is aspecting the 4/4 backbeat. So now that we understand the fundamental principle, we can make our first decision. And our first decision is, how long is the beat cycle? This is like your only creative input that you're ever gonna choose, okay? In this video, for obvious reasons, it's gonna have to be 33. We're gonna choose our 33 beat cycle. Meshuggah does this all the time. Tool does this even a couple times, and I even documented that in one of the Tool Tuesdays on Numa. They have a riff in 33. So it's basically just like a classic decision, right? Okay, so let's get into the geometry of the computers, because that's honestly where all this stuff really becomes very clear. And you know that Meshuggah is building everything from computers. Like Martin said or something, he's like, yeah, I play like one small idea on the guitar and then I'll immediately like run to the computer. Dude, I bet you he doesn't even barely play that one thing on the guitar. He probably runs straight to the computer, right? That's what I'm doing. No guitar. Guitar will come later. Bass will come later. Production will come later. But first, it's just about these really, really fundamental concepts. It's like you got the backbeat of 4/4. Let's just plug that in real quick. First aspect is literally just the backbeat. Second aspect, we're going to create it. We've decided it's going to be a 33 beat cycle. Let's create that 33 beat cycle. How are we going to group that those 33 notes? Now, this is when you start to realize the relevance of 7 and 5, okay? 7 and 5 are pretty much your only options in terms of organizing 33 beats. From there, we're going to divide even lower, subdivide into 2s and 3s, but with 33 as our major beat cycle, it seems pretty obvious that 7 and 5 is going to give us more bang for our buck than 3 and 2. Got to think about efficiency, right? So the first thing is, if we're going to do 7s, maybe I'll think about how many times is 7 going to 33? 4 times is 28. 5 is a leftover. Perfect! That's amazing. So let's just map that out as fast as humanly freaking possible. We'll do it in B flat for the sake of Meshuggah. Could be F. So on the 16th note level, I got to make a few snappy decisions, and I'll do them ASAP. I got to choose how I'm going to do a 7. I'm going to do the 7, 3, 2, 2. Chose, done, moving on, right? 3, 2, 2. That little chunk of reality right there represents 7, okay? Now I'm going to copy and paste that 4 times, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I know I'm at 28, and I need 5 to get to 33. Notice, this is why everyone does this. You see right here, you see where I'm going right over the old bar line right there. That's the whole point of everything, right? The whole point of everything is to go over the bar line and create those interesting moments of counterpoint. All starts with the rhythm. Notice how I haven't even thought about any kind of harmonic implication whatsoever. The seed of this rhythm is ultimately going to be like a kick drum thing anyway. So right there, that's our first cycle of 33, right? Consists of 7, 7, 7, 7, 5, right? So now we're going to repeat that until we finish, till our snare drum is over, right? Now I'm literally going to copy and paste that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Guess what? That 16 that I guessed about before turns out is better if it's only an 8. Isn't that funny? That is so funny. I was already wrong about my first, decision out of the gate, doesn't even matter. None of that is the point. So now that I see I have some leftovers, right? Classic opportunity, right? Now you actually get to make another creative decision, kind of. Because this, I already see it right away. There's not even any decision to be made. Watch this. This is too easy. That's it. I don't have to, there's not a complicated solution. And that's why 33, man, that's the whole point of 33. They all use it because it like works really well. But when you start experimenting with other beat cycles, you see that you actually find even more miraculous solutions. So the 33 kind of represents some kind of essential simplicity that can be very valuable in your composing. And actually, before I put that against the snare drum, let's actually literally like systematic. I'm not even going to listen this before I start building on it in a meaningful way, like putting the bass on the kick drum, right? Obviously, I could have written this whole thing on a kick drum if I wanted to. That's like dynamite. Now, what I would do next, if I'm going to develop this idea, is just fill in the blanks systematically. Now, honestly, as we just observed, that riff does sound quite good on its own. Kind of like the Born in Dissonance intro, right? It's just one note and it's just sick, right? These rhythms are all good. Everything is good. That's actually one of the secrets, is that all of it is good. You just have to like systematically commit to it, and Meshuggah kind of shows us how to do that. So when it comes to making notes, once again, don't overdo it. Less is definitely more in this case, as we've just heard, because what we just listened to was essentially good enough in terms of a groove that we could build on top of. But let's increase the intensity of that groove by adding some notes, right? So what comes out naturally here? Okay, I literally hear it on there, like there, like that. Right? And you already hear it, right? You hear it too. So we want to stay true. We want to stay true to that 33 beat cycle, right? So where does our 33 beat cycle repeat itself? Well, that would be right here. So now we're at that crossroads of like, do we just want to repeat exactly what we had here? Look at this, like the geometry of it is perfect. Because what I could literally do right now, and this is oftentimes what Meshuggah might also do, is they will just already repeat it from right there, right? Because you have one iteration of the beat cycle. That's enough, right? That's literally enough. Because listen to this. Like that, you know what I mean? Like it already cuts over just like Meshuggah. That's that 33 cut. That's straight up that. Like it's I don't know where that comes from. Like I don't even know if that's like plagiarism at this point, but like I don't think it is, because Tool does it too. But then obviously if I like that as much as I do, then I'm gonna literally paste it until the end of the phrase, right? Literally until the end of the phrase, and we might have to do some ending trickery, right? Always with the ending exit point, but this is not going to be a complicated one here. Well, basically we've just got one extra 16th note. Too easy, kind of, right? All right, let's see how that kind of ends up in all. I love it because the note repeats. That's so funny. That's like almost like bad, but then that's why it's good, right? Now I would point out that you could literally stop there for sure, right? But if you wanted to build one layer deeper, you already know what it is, right? It's when you put the symmetrical rhythm on top. And this is where that third aspect can come in if you want to use the third aspect, right? You don't have to always use it. If a certain riff has plenty of complexity, you don't need to necessarily put something on top of it. Although oftentimes using these like symmetrical top layer rhythms is a way to orient the beat cycle rhythm that we had established before, which is obviously juxtaposing that symmetry. So what kind of melody could we have? Well, think about on a basic level, what's the harmonic implication here? It's just nightmare scale stuff. It's just nightmare scale stuff. It's just like B flat nightmare. You got the flat 3, you got the flat 4. Honestly, a more Meshuggah move might actually have that to be not the natural 4th, but the sharp 4. That might be the more Meshuggah move. And now I just changed everything, but it barely. Let's see. Yeah, literally. It's literally like more Meshuggah. Yeah, do that. Wow. Okay. So then your melody becomes kind of a juxtaposition of that nightmare scale implication. And think about this. We got the minor 3rd and the flatted 4th. So it's like diminished plus the flat 2. Very like diminished minor. Minor diminished. Here's the trick. Do the melody in major, dude. That's the trick every time. Don't do the melody in the same tonality as the riff if it's inverted every time. Honestly, I'll go one deeper on that. The melody is best off being major, and the riff is best off being minor, dude. Obviously. So what could that melody be? Well, if we got B flat nightmare, maybe some consonant notes against that are going to help us anchor into the reality here. So here we go. We're going to have something consonant. Here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing like this, right? We got B flat. So a consonant supportive note could be the 5th, although it's going to be up an octave for sure. Yeah, just off the 5th. Something like this, right? So basic it hurts. Usually these are on the half notes or the whole notes. Wow, that is vicious right away. I almost hear it starting on the root, actually, which is not a note you'd pick too often. Yeah. And now it like, right. Hit up that minor melody, maybe. Now we're getting to the aspecting, right? I'm not even judging the melody. Notice that. I'm not even judging it. I will say it's alien, so alien. Maybe the instrumentation could be better, but I'll work with it because it literally technically works. And the whole funny thing about this stuff is that if you just commit, you're going to start to like it more and more, and you will develop the arrangement around it. So that's that secret level of like, dude, everything is good. You know, like for real, I'll come back to that because it's kind of true. This is an example of that. I'm systematically creating this music just like based on Meshuggah parameters, and I'm not going to judge what it sounds like initially, but I will say this does sound pretty alien to my ears. I'm not quite hearing like how to develop it just yet, but that's one of those, once again, perfect challenge, you know, kind of a perfect thing to work with, right? So I'll literally just go ahead and put like a gnarly beat machine on that. That's obviously what you saw coming. No, that's not the one. Watch this. I'm probably going to use glitching beat machine again.